Well, the weather is not looking good today. We're expecting the downpours to continue into today's sprint, and this will make for some very tricky conditions for all the teams. Spa-Francorchamps is a 4.35-mile tour of the Ardennes countryside, with 9 rights and 10 lefts, giving us a grand total of 19 corners. Average lap speeds in the dry can reach about 145 miles per hour, but without a significant improvement in the conditions, we're not going to be seeing anything like that today. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. Oscar Piastri lines up on pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Russell, Charles Leclerc and Albon, Ocon, Ward, Antonelli and Ollie Behrman, Tsunoda, Fernando Alonso, Lando Norris and Colapinto, Hülkenberg, Bortoletto, Pierre Gasly and Isaac Hadjar, Stroll and Liam Lawson rounds off the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint. And alongside me a man, well, what more can I say? But he's a legend. Anthony Davidson. Well, they say that a change is as good as a rest, and whilst there's not much rest on show in the sprint format today, there's definitely a change to what we're usually seeing on the track. Now, I'll be generous here. It's not that long ago that you were racing and entertaining us on a Sunday, but in the years since, the sport has changed quite a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has, Crofty. You know, the cars have got bigger, they're heavier, but critically, there's more downforce to play with as well now. There was around 4 tons of downforce on the car at 300 kilometres an hour when I drove. You're now looking more towards 5 tons of downforce. So there's a big difference in performance. But because of that, the car being heavier and bigger, you've got to drive in a smoother way. You've got to look after it a bit more. You've got to nurse it through the slow-speed corners more. They were much more nimble, agile machines when I drove in Formula 1 compared to now.
We're going to need you to push hard if we want to get another points finish today. Let's make it happen. Superb parking there, mate. Let's make sure we get the edge on the surrounding drivers as the lights go out. That's a decent start. Good job. Okay, keep an eye on that gap ahead, please. 4.0 seconds. Okay, final lap. Let's go. Final lap. Okay, here's the gap that we're trailing the car ahead by. 7.6 seconds. All right, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
So with the sprint concluded, join us next time for qualifying and, of course, the main event, this weekend's Formula One Grand Prix. We'll see you next time.